Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the pre-fight press conference for UFC 138. A lot of you know how this works, but just to make sure there isn't any confusion, I'm going to go through a couple of housekeeping items. We're actually not going to introduce the fighters. We'll just go right into questioning. Once the questioning is over, we'll pose the fighters off, and then we'll be able to break out into one-on-ones. It surprised me to hear that it's been 3 years since we were back in, or last here in Birmingham. As you know, our feeling is, and I think it's proven, that England is one of the best fight countries in the world. The fans here continue to support us. We are within a couple hundred seats of a total sellout. I spoke with the arena executives yesterday, and they've assured me that we've already set the revenue record for the arena. So we're really proud of that and thankful for all the fan support. The one thing I want to highlight about the main event is it's the first time that we'll be doing a 5-round non-championship fight, so that should prove to be interesting to watch. The other thing with the fighters that are here on the dais, these are without question, in terms of the bantamweight and middleweight division, the top contenders in the division. So the fans coming to the event and watching on TV will have an opportunity to see the best in the class, and we're excited to have them all here. The other thing that I want to announce is Friday, the weigh-in is actually at the community hall. It's not adjacent to the LG Arena. It's closer to the NIA, which is where we held the last event. Wanted to make sure people were aware of that. And Rashad Evans is doing a Q&A. We always like to have the media out for that, for the Fight Club Q&A. That will begin at 2 o'clock on Friday. So without further ado, I'd just like to open it up to questions. Make sure you have a microphone in your hand before you begin to ask your questions so that everyone can hear it. We have a couple of microphones here, so if you'll raise your hand, we'll get you recognized.
Marshall, just a quick housekeeping note on the record. Do you know if that's the all-time revenue or just sporting event, or is it entertainment as well?
I'm told it's both sporting and all-time.
Okay, great, thank you. If I could start with Mark, please. Mark, obviously we've talked about the matchup quite a bit, but this is a main event fight for you, a very significant moment, I would think. What's it like, being kind of the center of attention and being in the main event at this time?
It's pretty awesome. It's awesome, man. This is what we work for. This is why we're here in the UFC. We want to be the best, and I definitely want to be the best. And I'm getting closer and closer, and this is one of the steps to get there. So I'm definitely going to take it.
And we've talked a lot about your winning streak and obviously, the advancement that you've shown recently. But Chris seems like a different type of opponent than you fought as of late, primarily grapplers. Can you maybe talk about his striking and how it lines up with guys that you faced in the past?
He throws bombs. He does. And I throw bombs too. So bombs away. I mean, it's going to be an exciting fight for sure because he brings it and I bring it. So I mean, he's different because he brings the fight and he comes to fight and he's a natural born fighter, and I bring the fight too. So that's why Joe Silva and Dana put this matchup together, because we both bring it. So it's going to be exciting for sure.
Thanks, Mark. And if I follow up with Chris, obviously it's the first time you've been in the main event in a while, but you've been in this position before. Is there a different experience to it? I mean, we hear guys say all the time, "Oh, it's just another fight. It's just another fight." But is there any difference in it?
No, some guys let it get to them, I guess. You got to sit there, watch everybody go out, come back bloody, and go, still not my turn yet. But I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I'm here to do my job. I don't care if there's 10,000, 20,000 people watching or 2 people watching. I don't care if there's 100 fights before me. I only got one fight I need to worry about, and that's Mark. That's the only thing that I'm focusing on right now. And you know what? Nothing changes nothing. Once that cage door closes, we're trying to kick the shit out of each other.
And Chris, some fans have been a little bit critical of the main event, both here and in the U.S., saying, well, it's we wanted bigger names. How do you feel about it? Do you listen to that criticism to upset you when you hear things like that?
No. The fact is, I'm probably the worst fan of the sport. I don't read the internet blogs. I don't care, All I care about is getting better, training, and when they offered up Mark and said, "Hey, main event," I said, "You know what? That's great. That's a great idea." Why? Because just like he said, we both throw bombs. You guys are going to have a main event you're not going to have to worry about. Sometimes we put these main events together because of their names, and it sucks. We're going to get in there and we're going to do it. I promise you a great show.
That's right. I second that.
Do we have another question? I had a feeling this might be short. No, there's one back here.
Chris, Nick from Fighters Only. I just wanted to make the point that I don't know whether you're aware that you're one of the most popular fighters in the UK. And our edition of our magazine alone, you're one of the most popular covers that ever sold in the UK. Can you explain why you think you're so popular UK fighters?
Because I'm loud.
Do you think it relates to the fact that you're very much a stand-up kind of guy?
Yeah, I think, honestly, in the UK, you guys have a wonderful background in striking and such a history of boxing, and as far, in America, we've got wrestling in high school, and lots and lots of wrestling. But your culture has grown to love and appreciate the stand-up art, and I think that they enjoy seeing knockouts, they don't want to see two guys rolling around on the ground. They want to see guys throwing bombs, knocking each other out, and I mean that's what I do, I think that's why they like it. I hope so.
And Brad, obviously you're incredibly popular over here for very similar reason that Chris has just explained. And how does it feel for you to make finally your UFC debut on home soil as well?
It's brilliant being able to. Obviously, my last 4 fights been over in the US, and I fought in the WEC, not the UFC, and the WEC is not really covered over in the UK. So a lot of people are just getting into the UFC from the UK won't even know who I am, basically, unless you're really into the sport, because it's not covered over there. But now they get a chance to see what I'm about, and I believe if anyone's watched any of my fights, or if they haven't, go on YouTube and watch my highlights, and they're going to love my style. Just like Chris here, I bring it every time. I throw bombs, and I always look to finish. And I'm not just like Chris as well. I don't care about getting hit. It's part of the sport. If you don't like getting hit, you're in the wrong sport.
There's one thing I like to say. I've been watching a lot of fights lately where the champs, they seem to, maybe it's just me, but it seems like they're fighting not to lose. For myself, I quit if that's what I start doing. I fight to win. I fight to finish my opponent. I don't fight to not lose. And that's what you're going to see.
I second that.
For Renan, please. Obviously, this is your second UFC fight. I'm wondering if there's any lessons that were taken out of the first fight that he can bring to this fight, and maybe if that might provide an advantage over Brad, who's in his first fight.
Minha parte de wrestling, melhorei muito e fiz meu treinamento junto com minha equipe de boxe, Muay Thai e meu jiu-jitsu, acho que vai fazer bastante diferença.
It was a very different since when my last fight I trained a lot of wrestling and put a lot of hard work on the Thai boxing and boxing. And as I've been doing jiu-jitsu for such a long time, I think this is going to be the differential on this fight.
And also he has the added challenge of fighting in Europe for the first time, and then fighting, of course, in Brad's home country. Are there any challenges as far as the travel, the climate, the food, fighting on somebody else's turf that make this a difficult challenge?
Primeira vez lutando aqui na Europa, vai lutar contra o cara que tá lutando em casa. Tem alguma coisa diferente? Tem algum challenge? Você vindo pra cá, fuso horário, lutando contra o cara dentro de casa e tal?
Não, estou tranquilo e fiz meu treinamento todo bem completo. Acho que lá em cima só vai ser eu e ele e estou muito bem treinado aí para fazer um bom combate.
No, I don't think this is going to be any problem. I've been training so hard for this fight, and when the cage is locked up, just going to be me and him there, and then whoever is well prepared going to win this fight.
And can you talk a little bit about Brad as a quality opponent? Obviously, he's got an incredible record, but it's been in the regional scene. Can you talk about where Brad ranks among those opponents and if he thinks this is his toughest challenge yet?
O que você acha do Brad como lutador e se ele é o teu maior oponente até hoje, devido às lutas que ele tem feito?
Vi algumas lutas dele, vi que ele é um excelente atleta e troca bem, bota para baixo, um cara bem completo. Mas é isso, estou bem treinado e pretendo dar o meu melhor lá.
Yes, I have seen a few fights of Brad Pickett, and I really respect that he's very good on stand-up, and he also put down takedowns. And but I'm very prepared, and I'm looking forward for the fight, and I really train hard, and then that's it.
And final question for Renan. A lot of people are saying if Brad wins, he ought to be involved in a title fight. Does he feel like he can start challenging for the title as well, or is it too soon?
Ele tá falando que já foi perguntado se o Brad requisitado para lutar uma super luta. Está perguntando se você sente que está no caminho certo e se você sente preparado para lutar pelo título.
O objetivo é esse, tentar chegar ao máximo e bem para um dia tentar lutar pelo título. O objetivo de todo atleta que entra no UFC é conseguir o cinturão. E eu tô nesse caminho aí e pretendo ir aí bem e chegar um dia aí disputar o título.
Você se sente preparado para lutar?
Me sinto preparado, estou muito bem focado, muito bem treinado e quando me sinto preparado para lutar o título e acho que é isso, estou bem focado, bem treinado e o objetivo sempre vai ser esse, buscar o título.
Yes, I'm well prepared, and I've been training my best, and I'm the best I've ever been. And as every fighter here in UFC, the objective is to get to the top, you know. And then now I'm fighting to the top, and then if there is the opportunity to come anytime, I'm more than well prepared for this chance.
That's a question for Chris. Your last visit to Birmingham 3 years ago, wasn't the best for all sorts of reasons. So when you got the offer this time to come and fight in Birmingham, 5-round fight against Mark, what was your initial thought process?
Man, I'm going to have to find healthy food in England again. You know what? Being the main event, especially a card that's going to be on TV like this, gives me a ton of exposure. I was stoked. I love fighting over here. The sport might not be quite as known by everybody, as like it is in the States, but your guys as fans are the fanatics, man. You guys are bananas about the sport, so I'm stoked, I'm stoked for the matchup. I'm stoked to be main event. I mean, in my opinion, this fight with Mark right here, this decides #1 contender right here. He's been on a roll. I knocked out won my last 4 out of 5, put Vanderlei away in 27 seconds. He's been killing everybody. This is the fight that decides, who gets that title shot, I had to come over here for it.
Could you give us a little insight into your favourite English foods and your worst? Your experience of English cuisine. Fish and chips guy?
If we can't boil it, we slap it between 2 pieces of bread. Don't get me wrong, sandwiches are handy. No, you don't need fork, right? I get it, but English food is good, just not when you're training. On Sunday I'll love English food, but right now I really can't eat a lot of it. So it has been, posed a little bit of an issue as far as eating what I like to eat, what my body's used to, and diet is so important. It's one thing that over the years I've learned, you are what you eat, what you put into your body. So, I got to be real careful, which means I had to do a lot of shopping, I just boiled pasta in my teapot. That's what I did. I just made whole weight pasta in my teapot for after weigh-ins.
Mark, do you second that?
Yeah, I don't even know what English food is, but I'm sure I'll love it because I'm not picky at all.
Fry it, boil it, or put it between bread. That's it.
But right now, for me, I have Christoph Szczynski cooking for me and doing my diet. He calls it the K-Sauce system, and I'm on it, and it's great. I feel the best that I've ever been on that diet. So, yeah. So right now, I'm just focused on putting the right things in me, training the right way, looking to get a title shot here in the future.
A quick question for Brad. Do you feel like your weight class gets the respect that it deserves?
It will do now with the audience we get. Obviously, it was hard before. The WC was a really big show, but now the merge, the UFC have given us opportunity to show what we've got on a larger scale. Obviously, it will take time because they can't just go from the WC, put us in the UFC, and promote us as well as people who already know the UFC fighters. So that will take time, and obviously, if you watch our fights and you enjoy our fights, we're going to get more and more people demanding us on cards and stuff, and you see a lot of us more higher up on the bills.
Okay, thanks.
Got a question for Mark. Obviously, people like to prepare and train in stylistically for their opponent. How do you go about finding someone to sort of match Leben's all-action style? I mean, does the sparring go up a notch, or?
I got a lot of southpaws in my gym, and a lot of guys that hit hard. So, I mean, the thing is you can't worry about somebody else's style, really. You know, you got to concentrate on yours and really go after the guy that you're fighting, and that's how I do it. You know, there's no one that I look at and I'm saying I can't beat. You know, and Chris Leben, he does have a really strong left hand. He does hit hard, but I truly believe I could beat him. You know, and so I have sparring partners that are southpaws, and that's it. You know, and I do look at tape and stuff and watch his tendencies, but other than that, you know, I'm going to go out there and fight my fight.
Thanks. And just for Brad, obviously you said the fans in the UK, the fans in the UK might be getting to know you now. Probably they might know even less about Renan. I mean, where do you see the biggest threat coming from your opponent?
Well, obviously, he has great jiu-jitsu. He's a Brazilian black belt. But he trains from a very good camp, and you'd be silly to be in this sport now, as much as it evolved over the years, to just be good in one area. You train in all areas. If you're weak in one area, you don't make it so you don't have a weakness. So, like myself, I came from a boxing background. Now I've added wrestling. Now I've added jiu-jitsu as well, and he's the same. You know, you may still find it at lower levels where someone just goes in, you know, with a judo background. It could be a high-level judo background. Like Umagara on this card, when he first started, he started fighting straight away with a judo background and fighting the best guys in the world. And it took him time to develop the other skills, and now he's a much more well-rounded fighter. And like with him as well, he's been in the game for long enough now to be able to train other areas which he's not good at and make them so you're a well-rounded fighter. When I go in the cage, I don't want to be classed, oh, he's a striker, oh, he's a wrestler, oh, he's a jiu-jitsu guy. I want to be in there as a complete package, and so I'm comfortable no matter where it goes.
Just a quick one for Chris. I saw you training down at UTC in the week. Just wondering what you thought of the skill levels, the standard of gym. It's fantastic.
You know, it's a beautiful facility, and you know the guys there, they were real awesome. Let us come in, train with them and stuff. You know, they're doing all the right things. You know, but you know the only thing that I could say again is you know we have so much grappling in America. You know, where I have a class of 20 guys, 15 of them would have wrestled through high school and stuff. So, you know, it's slowly but steadily, you know, the ground game in Europe is picking up and exploding. You know, they're getting the videos, they're working the game, they're learning the stuff. As far as the stand up and the hands go, man, you know, top notch. You know, but when I go down there and I look around, I see a lot of motivated guys doing the right things, for sure.
And also, Brad, have you given any advice to Vaughan?
What's that?
Have you given any advice to Vaughan making his debut?
Yeah, just enjoy the experience. Don't be satisfied with just making it to the UFC. A lot of people I find are happy just getting in the UFC. Yeah, I'm in the UFC. I'm not happy just to be here. I want to be something when I'm here. So, you know, I think him versus Chris Caruso is a very good evening match, and I'm looking forward to it. Even though I won't be able to watch it as much, but I'll definitely find out. And I'm good friends with Vaughan, and I wish him the best of luck. And I think it'll be a good fight. You know.
Definitely.
Very fast paced. They're both, you know, got plenty of energy.
Brilliant. Thanks.
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool. How you doing? Master Wang here from the MMA shop in Scotland. First question for Brad. Is it like being back in the day when you can get a couple of bus loads of people coming along? I'm guessing there's going to be a couple of bus loads of people coming along, and then your buddies. And again, do you feed off that? Will you feed off that?
To be honest, it's like, yeah, obviously it's a big advantage for me in a way. I'm happy because I've got a lot of people coming to watch me who haven't been able to watch me over the last few years because it's not easy to buy plane tickets to come over. So some close friends and family managed to do that on a regular basis, but you can't expect everyone you went to school with, your friends, your people you train with to be able to do that as well. So now, being able to fight in England, it was amazing. For me, it never was an option. I kept on bugging Sean Shelby, hey, when there's going to be a WC in England, when are you going to be, and he was like, oh, I don't know, maybe, you know. And then found out now the UFC and that's merged, so it's brilliant for me now because now I can fight in my hometown and I'm going to have a lot of people coming along.
That's actually my next question. I was just about to bug Michael about when the UFC was coming to Scotland, because we've seen Manchester, we've seen Birmingham, we've seen Newcastle, we've seen London. Come up north and you'll see proper crazy
There definitely should be
love
more.
fighting.
Definitely should be more shows in the UK. Than
Come up
one
to
a year.
Scotland. And then last thing for Chris, what's your favourite sandwich? What's the filling? What's the favourite thing to slap in
It's a
between
knuckle
two
sandwich,
bits
I
of
bet.
bread?
It'd be a knuckle sandwich.
Man, I don't know. You guys put everything between two pieces of bread. There's a lot to choose from. I like that chicken tikka thing they had. I don't know what it was.
Chicken tikka.
Chicken tikka, yeah. We don't get that one. We don't have that one in the States, but it's delicious.
Good choice, man. Good choice. Thank you.
Marshall, could you tell us a little bit about what's going on with the UFC and the UK scene now? Because obviously we've not seen you for quite a while, and we don't know when you're going to be back. Did Chris manage to put you off the food, or what's the?
No, I don't mind the food. I do like that chicken tikka as well. But look, I think that in a perfect world we'd be here, more times a year. But as you know, you've heard our mantra. We're trying to get everywhere, and there's a lot of pressure to bring the event everywhere around the world. It was a struggle just getting this event into the calendar. You may remember back in the day there was a lot of discussion about whether we were coming back at all, and we were able to, through the hard work of the office here and with the arena here, to be able to make this event happen. There's actually an event in the arena the night before that we're actually setting up, so it's not ideal for us, but we were committed to being back in the market. I think long-term for us, next year I already know that there's an event planned for next year. There might even be two. Scotland is on our target list. We're waiting for a new venue to be built in Glasgow. It's, I think, going to be ready in the middle of next year. One of the other things we're trying to figure out in this market is our TV situation. We had a couple of false starts in the early days when we were with Setanta and Bravo, and then we went Setanta, then Setanta went into liquidation, and now we're with ESPN. So it's been a little bit disjointed, I'm sure, to the fans in terms of our programming and the availability of it here. But that's just the way the business goes. ESPN doesn't have the shelf space for all the content we have and are developing, so the team's working hard to make sure that we can get the product out to the fans. So it's still a work in progress, but it's a work that we're prepared to do, committed to do. Dana and Lorenzo are coming. We're committed to this market. We love coming here. The fans have been, very supportive. I've already mentioned the ticket sales. So we're not giving up on this market, and you can expect to see us next year, and I hope, more times in the years to come.
I have a question for Brad. Chris touched briefly on the evolution of the MMA scene here in the UK and how fighters are continually growing. You're exceptionally well-travelled with respect to your training and the people that you train with. What are your thoughts on how the UK MMA scene has improved over several years, and what would be your advice to fighters who are looking to evolve and compete on the world's class stage, such as the UFC?
Obviously, my advice is also you need to surround yourself with people who are going to be beating you on a daily basis. You don't want to be the guy in the gym that's beating everyone, because you're not going to evolve. You're just going to be that. So you need to always go somewhere where you're going to be pushed. Obviously, being in America, they have such a big advantage with wrestling at high school and at that level, where we don't have over here. So that's the reason I went over to America, because, to be honest, wrestling's dominating the sport at the moment. And it's very, very, I think it's the most important part of the sport. You can control where the fight goes. You're going to keep it standing, you can take it down. And also the way the judges are scoring fights nowadays is very wrestling biased. So I had to go learn that if I wanted to be anything in this sport. So I went out to American Top Team, and they helped me a lot with wrestling. I wrestle a lot here. I have a good training camp here at Team Titan in North London as well, and I've got very good fighters there. But sometimes also I travel overseas, not just for the great training and sparring partners I have at American Top Team, but also it helps me switch on. Like when I'm here, like I say, the food and the day-to-day basis, it's hard for like going, oh, I'm going to eat this, I'm going to eat that, I'm going to go home, I'm going to train, I'm going to go to my brother's birthday party, and then next week I'm training for a camp. It's really hard to switch mentalities, but when I get on the plane and I fly and I land on American soil, I'm there for one reason. I can switch on, focus for the fight, and that's all I'm doing. I'm just eat, sleep, and train. And if there's someone's birthday party I'm going to miss, I'm in America. But if I'm in the country, you kind of like, you feel you got to go to these things, you know. But because some people don't understand how important your training is. They say they do, but really they don't.
All right, any other questions? Doesn't look like it, so let's pose the fighters off. Give us a minute to get the setup on here.